Om Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. O Lord, please lead us from unreality to the reality, from ignorance to the knowledge, and from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, Drig, Drishya, Viveka, we were discussing a new idea. Author, after discussing three types of seers, now he is trying to discuss the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth. I am that Brahman in a different viewpoint. Now he is discussing this ultimate reality, that ultimate reality from the standpoint of three reality: Paramarthika Satya, absolute reality; Vyavaharika Satya, empirical or transactional reality; then Pratibhasika Satya, it is just subjective reality. So then the question may come, so is this then three realities are there? Advaita philosophy is non-dual philosophy. There are no two, means there is only one. That's what they say. And now you are saying that there are three realities. Actually, there are no three realities, only to make us to understand what is real and whatever is appearance or illusory, to make us understand. The author is trying to differentiate the reality into three, as a three realities, and is trying to make us understand the two realities are not the realities, and only the absolute reality, that I am that Brahman, or consciousness, or self, that is the only reality. To reach that state, to make us understand that state, so the author is trying to describe these three types of realities. So if you know this basic idea, basic approach towards the truth, then you will be able to understand the whole thinking process. So, what is the nature of individual self and the universe is answered in 36th verse. Let us see. Jivo dista chidabhaso bhaved bhokta hi karmakrit bhogya rupamidam sarvam jagatyat bhuta bhautikam. It is because the fallacious presentation of consciousness located in the buddhi or in the mind performs various actions and enjoys their results. That is called, therefore, it is called jiva, individual self. And all this consisting of the elements and their products, which are of the nature of the objects of enjoyment, is called jagat or the universe. So basically, the author is trying to explain, author is explaining two things. What is the nature of the universe, the empirical world, and the empirical self? So he's telling that what is this empirical universe, the nature of universe? How did it come into existence? He's telling because of the five elements, this whole universe is made up of. And the world and its products are made up of these five elements by having its own permutations and combinations. What it is in Aprokshanabhuti, we have discussed in detail. So the universe is nothing but it is the composite of the five elements. What are the five elements? Ether, space, air, water, fire, and earth. So So the permutation and combination of these five elements is what nothing but the universe and its products. And this is the field where the individual self, the individual being works, performs his or her actions and experiences the results. So, who is the individual self? Is a living entity, he or she is a living entity, performs the work, karta, feeling the sense of ownership, doership, and experiences its results. Maybe good or bad, happiness or sorrow, profit or loss, but it is all experience. So if we got punya, then it will be pleasurable happiness, and if we got more papa, then we will have more troubles and more problems. So the virginal consciousness, when it reflects on the reflecting medium called mind or buddhi, then there is a reflected image is formed in the reflecting medium. The reflected image is called jiva, or the individual self, or the empirical self. When the original consciousness is reflected upon the reflecting medium called mind or buddhi, then the reflected image is formed. That reflected image is nothing but the empirical self or individual self or jiva. So this is what the author is trying to tell. So what are the main characteristics of this embodied self, individual self, or jiva? He feels that he is a karta and is a bhokta. He is the doer and he is the enjoyer. Enjoyer means he is the experiencer of his actions and its results. That's how he feels that he is a bound. So what is this world? World is made up of five elements. So the world is the product of these five elements. So here the author is trying to tell that the universe is my own projection like the dream. What happens in my dream? In my dream, I became the president of the Ireland. In the Phoenix Park, there's a beautiful castle. I mean, meant for the president of the Ireland. He stays there. So if we have seen that outside, then in the dream, probably I remembers that I'll be staying and having a probably a lavish life. Then I experienced so many things and I went visited so many countries. I visited different parts of the world. I visited different parts of the world. Probably I did met Joe Biden or what do you say, German Chancellor, then French President, Indian Prime Minister or President, Sri Lankan President, then American President, then whatnot. So many dignitaries I met. I went to London and also I met the King Charles there. All these things happened. So many experiences. Then when my alarm rang, then my sleep broke. I got up. I'm the same person. See, going to different countries, experiencing that travel and meeting the people, having the meetings and having the dinner, parties, all these things, it takes a lot of time, but still probably in few moments or few minutes, I had that experience. But the moment when the sleep breaks, the dream breaks, then I understand that it is not real. So the whole my experiencer and the experienced world both are nothing but it is the mental projection. The mind has projected that. The mind projected itself as the perceiver, experiencer, and also it projected its own mental world where it was traveling in the different parts of the world. So the individual self and even the world was projected from the mind in the dream world. So even similar case is also in case with the waking state. Like I, Swami Shantivratananda, are doing so many things. So all these things are nothing but mental projection. But the problem is When we explain about the dream world and dream experience and it is not real, it is only mental projection, most of us, we all understand. All of us, we understand, we accept it. But when Vedanta says that even the so called waking state, waking experience, the waker and the waking and the universe, which your empirical world, even that is also a big dream. When the Vedanta says, then we feel, come on, Swami, because we are listening to you, you can't bluff us. You can't tell whatever you want. How it is possible? Because I'm experiencing every day and it is so palpable and it is so truthful. How can you say that even it is like a dream? Then the Vedanta laughs at us and says, yes, my dear. Because you are in the waking state and you are trying to understand that the waking state is also like a dream, which is not possible. When we go to the Turiya state, beyond this waking state, then only we can understand or experience even this waking state is also a dream state. Just like when we were in dream, say for example, you were dreaming, you went to Disney park and you were enjoying. Then even in this dream, in the dream, Swami Shantivratananda came and he's telling, oh my dear, this is the dream world. This Disney park is a dream. So it is not real. So stop enjoying, stop experiencing, stop dreaming. Then he says, oh Swami, please get out from here for God's sake. I want to enjoy it. Then I say, okay, best of luck, experience and enjoy and experience. But then Swami Shantivratananda disappeared and you started enjoying. But when the dream breaks and when you get wakened, then when you come to waking state, then you will understand, yes, whatever the Swami Shantivratananda said in the dream that it is a dream, it was true. But when I was telling in the dream, even Swami Shantivratananda also came in a dream. But then you didn't understand that it is a dream, but it was reality. Isn't it? Only when you shifted from dream state to waking state, then only you understood that is a state of dream or dream state and it doesn't have any reality. Similarly, when we are in waking state, so Vedanta is trying to tell that even that is a big dream, long dream, we are not able to understand. Even if you understand, we are not able to have a conviction and we don't experience it. So when we reach Turiya state, that is possible for all of us to understand. So the individual being is the doer and is the experiencer in this body-mind complex. If there is no body and mind, so neither the individual self is the doer nor the experiencer. So to do any action, to experience something, you need body and mind. So this is what very important. So when you do good actions, the results will be virtue, and it is called luck in the empirical language. And when you perform bad actions, wrong actions, unethical actions, the result will be vice. Papam, it is called, not the sin from the Christian theology point of view, not that sin. So it is the result of bad actions. Then you have to suffer, you have to undergo a lot of torments, problems, whatnot. So, for the individual experience of pleasure and pain, this universe is nothing but the karma bhumi, or it is the place of action, it is the place of experience. So, this is what we have to understand. Now, the author is trying to, he will explain the next verse. Both the individual being and the universe, both are the products of Maya, and hence they are cognized so long as a being is in the state of ignorance. Just when you were in dream, you were the dreamer, your mind is the dreamer or experiencer of the dream state, and it created world also. Your physical body is in, what do you say, rest, you are not aware of it, only your mind itself is taking the role of experiencer and the experienced, that is the objects and the universe. So, similarly, even in this waking state, I, as the experiencer, and I'm experiencing this universe. So, even this both experiencer and the experienced universe, both are nothing but the mental projection. So, that has been explained in the 37th verse, we shall try to see. Anadikalam arabhya mokshat purvamidam dvayam vyavahare sthitam tasmat ubhayam vyavaharikam. It's a beautiful thing. These two, the individual self or the empirical self and the universe, dating from time and space without beginning, have only empirical existence, and they exist till one attains liberation. Therefore, both are called empirical reality. So, what does it mean? We have to understand. See, first and foremost, is using the author is telling that we don't know when the creation started. Creation is beginningless. So, it is very, very important. Now, the Bible has given some explanation how and when the God created. Same thing may be different religious scriptures. Quran may be or Talmudadi, and even Puranas in Hindu scriptures. All of them have given so much uh, narrations about this creation, the beginning of the creation. But actually, we cannot say, logically, we cannot say when did creation started. We cannot say. It is a very interesting point actually. We have to think better. Why, you know? The time and the space itself is the part of creation. The time and space itself, when it is the part of creation, then how can you say that when did this creation start? When the creation started, time came into existence. If time has come into existence, that means at that moment the creation started. So that is the reason the Vedanta says that it is anadi. The creation is beginningless. We do not know when it started. That's why Swami Vivekananda says Vedantin is sincere enough to say that I do not know. It is I can only say it is beginningless or anadi. But it can be ended. What is that? So pralaya, it is called destruction, everything will be destroyed. No. By experiencing my real nature, ultimate reality, for me, this world come into the world ceases into existence. So it is Santa, it can be ended. So this is what, though the time and space itself is the part of creation. So we cannot explain actually, we cannot tell when this creation started. Now, the individual being and the universe and this universe both are not real. They are only again projection of the mind. This is when it is it becomes a fact, it becomes a matter of experience. If you ask, it becomes the matter of experience when I reach the ultimate reality. When I reach the state of ultimate reality, paramarthika Satya, we say Paramarthika level, when we reach, then only we can understand this Vyavaharika Satya. That is empirical reality, empirical universe, and this empirical self, both are also appearance, illusory. They are not real in true nature. They are not real in reality. They are not true in reality. That's what we can understand only when we reach the absolute reality, that is Paramarthika Satya. Otherwise, if we are ignorant, if we are in bondage, then how much ever we listen, it doesn't become the matter of our experience. And how much ever we listen, this world and its products and this individual self or empirical self, it is real for all of us. So this we have to understand very clearly. So here the author is explaining why this so-called waking state or the waking universe or the person, the individual being who is living in this universe during the waking state, he is called Vyavaharika Jiva and Vyavaharika Jagat. That is empirical self and the empirical world. Why? Because when the virginal consciousness is reflected upon the reflecting medium called Chidabhasa or the mind, so the reflected consciousness is formed, reflection of the image has been formed. That is why it is called Vyavaharika Satya. So the reflecting medium called mind you remove, then the reflected consciousness, the empirical self, ceases into existence. So here the important point we should understand. So that's why Krishna says, Manayeva Karanam Bandha Mokshayo. Mind is the only instrument, cause for my bondage and for my liberation. Because through this mind reflecting medium, I am feeling that I am so and so, I am so and so, I am so and so. When this reflecting medium called mind is not there, then I don't feel that I am so and so. Then who I am? I am that. I am that ultimate reality. I am that self. So, just like the dreamer doesn't know that, is experiencing the dream world and is the dreamer, dream self. So, similarly, the person who is in the waking state is not aware of it in reality, that is also having the long dream or big dream. Just the waking, the dream state is unreal. When we understand, when will we understand? Only when we come to waking state. So similarly, the scriptures, the Vedanta is saying that the so-called waking state is also a long dream that is correctly understood and experienced when we reach the Turiya state or the absolute reality state point of view. Now, how can we end the universe if you ask? We are not really concerned to end the universe at the physical level. So rather, Vedanta is only concerned about to end the cycle of birth and death, which is the cause of suffering. By removing ignorance, by knowing my real nature, true nature, that I am the Paramarthika Jiva, absolute self or absolute reality, one can end suffering, one can end the but going again and again with the cycle of birth and death, and one will be free from all types of dualities, and one will be aware that he is in real the embodiment of the bliss or happy or ananda. So you have to understand that. So the waking experience is also another kind of dream which is long in nature. That's what Adar is trying to tell. Now, if the individual self as the empirical under the empirical universe is existing from time immemorial, and it lasts till one attains liberation, then how is it possible to explain for the scriptural passages which deals with creation, preservation and dissolution, and also three types of states: waking state, dream state and deep sleep state? This question may come for all of us. For that, the answer is explained in the 38th verse. Let us see. Chidavasa stitha nidra vikshepa vrittirupini avrutya jiva jagati purve nutne tu kalpayet. Means sleep said to be associated with the conscious wrongly presented in the mind and of the nature of concealment and projection. At first, covers the empirical individual self and the cognized universe, but then imagines them in dream afresh. So now, the author is trying to tell I, the absolute self, the Paramarthika Jiva, is projecting the Vyavaharika Jiva, empirical self, and the Vyavaharika Jagat, that is empirical world. And these both empirical self and empirical world are both are my mental projections. We know that. So same thing, even in the dream, what happens? This empirical self and empirical uh, universe is projected by my mind with the power of Maya. So similarly, when the empirical self is entered the deep sleep state, what happens? With the help of this power of projection, the mind is projecting it as the dreamer, Pratibhasika Jiva, and Pratibhasika Jagat, that is the dream world. So the dreamer and the dream world has been created by covering the empirical self and the empirical world. That's what they are telling that. With the help of Nidra Shakti, the power of sleep, so this dreamer and the dream world comes into existence, and the mind gets attached. Our mind itself is acting as the dreamer and the dream world, and it is experiencing. It has taken the role of experiencer, and it has taken the role of experienced also. Now, these dreams effects can be solved by waking up, and these waking effects also can be solved by knowing real nature or attaining Turiya state. So, this is what we have to understand. So, the dream world can be negated by waking state, and the same thing, waking state is also negated by Turiya state or the self realization. This Gaudapada very beautifully refers in Mandukya Karika. Now, if you see verse number 32, 33, 34, the author discussed about Paramarthika Jiva, the absolute self. In 35, 36, 37, he discussed about the Vyavaharika Jiva, empirical soul or empirical self. Then in the verse 38, he discusses about Pratibhasika Jiva, or just it is the subjective reality, if you can say. Now, the question was, if you feel that even the dream state or the dreamer, etc., everything is unreal, then why this creation, preservation, and dissolution is there? So that is there for the external world actually, if you take even so, again, it is a mental projection only. Since there is a mental projection, just there's some part of time, the dream started, which is nothing but creation. Then the dream continued, which is preservation, and the dream ended when I got up, or when I went to deep sleep, or whatever. Then that is what the end of the dream. So, similarly, the mind is projecting this universe. When it started, that's creation. When it is going on, preservation. And when I know who am I, then it ends my dream. That is what dissolution, or pralaya. And these three states of existence, it is also experienced by the empirical self at all times. So there is no problem. So the dream jiva, the dream self, which is Pratibhasika jiva called, it is not aware that he is originally the waker. So that's why his mind, it is unable to think the waking jiva, the empirical self and the empirical world, it is unable to understand. So why the jiva, I mean the self and the world which is experienced in the dream is called illusory self and illusory world. Why it is? In the 39th verse, it is explained. I think, of course, the author is explaining, but I actually, if you ask me, there is no need of it. Why? Because every one of us, we know why it is. प्रतीतकाल एवैते स्थितत्वात् प्रातिभासिके न हि स्वप्न प्रबुद्धस्य पुनः स्थितिः तयोः. Means these two objects, what is that? Namely, the perceiving self and the perceived world are illusory on account of their having existed only during the period of dream experience. It is because no one, after waking up from dreams, sees those objects when one dreams again. In the dream state, you went to particular place, particular island, so nicely you had experience, you had a picnic, you had a fun, lot of things. Then fine, you got up. And again you may dream, but you will not be able to experience the same dream again, mostly. Even if you experience, there will be different dream experience. But whereas now before going to bed, I set my alarm with my phone. When I got up, when I see, I'm seeing the same phone. Yeah, there are very minute, which is unseen changes in the mobile, because we know that the whole world is in flux. As Heraclitus says, Greek philosopher, the everything is in flux. Everything is continuous movement. Even in Buddhism also, they say that every moment, the whole world is changing. Like you cannot take the same water in a river, they say that. There is a change, no doubt. That law of momentariness or law of change is there. But we can't see it. We can't, make the difference. So yesterday I saw the same phone. I used the same phone. Today I'm using the same phone. tomorrow or for 6 months, 1 year, time and again, I'll be using the same phone to set my alarm, to put off my alarm. So that's why it is called empirical reality. At least some reality, some part of reality, it exists here. But whereas in the dream, today I experience something, and after some time, if I get one more dream, then my experience is totally different. If I get similar dream, yeah, it may be similar, but it is not same. Whatever in the earlier dream experienced, the same things I cannot experience in the next dream, subsequent dreams. So it is highly subjective, highly individualistic, and it is only at given point of time it is real. Just when I was in the dream state, that time only that is real. Afterwards, before and after, it is not real. So that's why it is pratibhasika satya. It is nothing but just mirage, or just it is illusion. So why? I mean, if you whoever studied Mandukya Upanishad with the Mandukya Karika, they'll be. I mean, this dream state in Vaidhatya Prakarana, I think they explain in detail. It is very, very important for Vedantins, Advaita Vedantins. Why? Using this analogy, they will try to explain. They will try to make us understand even the so-called waking state, waking experience, waking universe is a long dream. So from this analogy, the author is trying to tell that even the so-called the waking universe, the experience of the waking universe and the experience of the waking self, everything is nothing but it is a long dream. But though it appears it as a real for us, that is because of due to ignorance. And that's why it is not real. Now, after hearing all these things, we may get a question. So many scriptures are saying you are a monk, you believe in it, fine. But is there any true? Is there any guarantee in this? Yes. There are so many monks and great people, philosophers, they have experienced this reality. Even we can see in the life of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda as a during his young days, he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. Initially, he never liked Advaita Vedanta. He used to come and talk with Sri Ramakrishna, discuss, and he used to go away. One day, Naren, he came to Dakshineshwar, where Sri Ramakrishna used to live, and he came and he sat in the room. Sri Ramakrishna was discussing about Advaitic ideas, views, and he was telling that, see, the whole world is Brahman, consciousness. Even I, you, the cot on which I am sitting, the kettle, water jug, water, every individual, whoever is there here, everyone is Brahman, everyone is Atman, everyone is that self, everyone is that pure awareness or consciousness. And consciousness alone exist, nothing else. Narayan felt this is too much. See, individual beings are self or consciousness, we can understand. How the kettle and water and the jug and the table and the chair and the cart, all these non-living beings, how they can be Brahman or the self or consciousness. We know that they're all non-living beings. They don't have any awareness. They're just an object. How the objects can be consciousness? Oh, this person is telling something. Um, no, illogical and something like that. He felt got annoyed and he got up and he came out. And there was a one more person named called Hazra, and he started joking with Hazra that look, Sri Ramakrishna is telling that everything is consciousness itself, everything is self itself. I, you, and even this cot and table, chair, jug, water, everything. So both of them they were laughing. Sri Ramakrishna got up, he heard some sound, he got up from the cot and he came out in a semi conscious state, in a static state. And he comes and asks, Naren, what are you talking? See, Naren was truthful and sincere and honest. He directly said, oh, sir, you were saying that Advaita says that everyone is Brahman, everything is Brahman, including cot, table, chair, and all. So we were discussing about it. And we were making laugh. We are making fun of it. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, why? Why are you making fun of it? Oh, because it is all illogical and it is nonsensical. Sri Ramakrishna said, no, it is my experience. It is a matter of fact. It is a matter of experience. I've experienced it. Mother Kali has shown me. But still, Naren didn't accept it. Then Sri Ramakrishna just touched Naren. With the infinite grace of Sri Ramakrishna, with the divine touch of Sri Ramakrishna, Naren's mind got changed. He started that experiencing the, Advaita experience. Whatever we are listening, that everything is dream like. Even the so-called the waking universe is a big dream, long dream. And this waking self, so-called Vyavaharika, empirical self, is also not real from the absolute point of view, absolute reality point of view. So that he started experiencing. The whole world got merged, started merging in one place. And the people are looking like just like a shadows. And when he sees some things and all, he's not able to see. It is only seeing some forms actually, but he's not feeling that it is real, just like we experience in the empirical universe. So many times when he was going back to his house, he used to hold the railings of the park and he used to hit his head hard on the railings and used to see whether they are real or unreal or whether their appearance. So for him, it was an appearance. And when he goes there, and when he goes to house, reaches his house, and it was a time for lunch or dinner, mother asks him to come for lunch, and she puts a plate. She serves rice and dal and lentils and some vegetables, and she asks him to eat, and he was unable to eat. Why? Even because his mother, the plate, the rice, the vegetables, everything is becoming Brahman. Everything is appearing or is experienced as Brahman, so he's not able to eat even properly. Mother felt got annoyed and really fearful. What happened to my son? Is something ghost or spirit has entered? Why is not able to eat? And she started asking, what did happen? What happened to you, Naren? Why are you not able to eat? Are you okay? Are you healthy? That experience it went for few 2 3 days. Then Naren understood whatever this Veda Advaitic philosophy, which has been discussed by the rishis, the spiritual scientists in the Upanishads and in other texts. So they are not mere intellectual speculation. It is not just mere intellectual imagination. It is a matter of fact. It is a matter of experience. Then he started following the Advaita Vedanta and he started understanding, reading, studying, experiencing all these things. So when we hear all these things, so it becomes probably an hypothetical argument. It becomes maybe, I don't know, it is very difficult to say, everything goes above the head, all these things. But when we go, when we, when we clean our mind, when we purify our mind more and more, we'll be able to understand this absolute reality. When we're able to experience that absolute or absolute truth or reality, even the so-called empirical reality, that is empirical self and the empirical universe also looks like shadow, looks like a dream. It doesn't have its real existence. So this is what we have to understand. So the waker individual self and the waker universe, that is empirical universe, are also nothing but just like a dream. They are also dream experience only. But now he's making one difference. In the dream also we experience the dreamer and dream world. And in the waking state also there is a waker empirical self and the wake experience that is called a empirical world. Both are appearance, no doubt, but the author makes a difference that both have got different relative point of truth. That is, in the dream world, the dreamer and the dream experience and the dream world, it is highly subjective, highly individualistic, and only at the given point of time, few moments or few minutes or few seconds, only it is true. That's all. Whereas in the so-called empirical self and the empirical world and its experience, it is bit more or it is bit long. So the content or the fraction of the truth, the reality, is more present in the empirical reality than the dream experience. So why this dream called Pratibhasika? Why? Because it is in the waking state, in the empirical self and the empirical universe, there is a continuity, but in the dream state, there is no continuity between dreams, etc., etc. That's why it is called pratibhasika. That you have to understand. Now, so following three stanzas, now from now onwards, 40 onwards, he discusses about the difference between the jivas, different type of jivas. What are they? Let us try to understand. प्रातिभासिक जीवो यह तत् जगत प्रातिभासिकम वास्तवं मन्यते अन्यस्तु मिथ्या इति व्यवहारिकः. He who is the illusory jiva thinks the illusory world as real, but the empirical jiva thinks that dream world as unreal. When you are in the dream state, the dream experience and the dreamer and the dream world all are real only for him. But only when he comes to waking state, then only he knows that the dream world, the dream experience, and the dreamer, everything was illusory. It doesn't have any reality. It doesn't have any value even. But the dreamer was thinking all that was real. Similarly, when the scriptures say that even the waking state, the waking experience, and the empirical universe is also a long dream, he doesn't understand, he can't accept, or it doesn't become true for him. Why? Because he is in the state. So when he goes to Paramarthika Sthiti, state, that is the state of absolute reality, then only he can understand and he can experience this empirical self, and the empirical universe is also a long dream. Just like in the dream self refuses to accept that the dream state, the dream world are unreal projection. To understand the fact, the individual has to wake up and enter into waking state. Then only he understands that the dream self and dream world, dream experience is unreal. And it is just mental projection of the mind. So same thing is also for the empirical world and empirical universe or empirical self. So only when his ignorance is removed, when he has got that self-awakening, self-realization, then only he understands that even the so-called experience of empirical self and the experience of the empirical world is also long dream, and which is negated. So that is, what you say, explained elaborately in the 41st verse. So 5 6 verse are there just. So we will try to understand that in the next verse, how even this waking state is also just like a dream state, both are having the same value actually. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.